Okay, hi everyone. Hi. I'm trying to see if you can see me live. Oh, great. I can see it. Hello, Tara. Hi. Tara, can you please let me know if you can hear me and see me okay? You can probably see the presentation and I should be up there in the little window. Hi everyone, welcome to today's Heal From Within workshop. Hi Erin. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Tara. You guys can hear me, see me okay. Just a little delay, so I always see the comments. I think it's like 20 seconds later. But I'm gonna wait for a little bit longer for more people to join us. I'm not sure how many people are joining live. But welcome. So lovely to see you here. And well, I'm not sure if anyone else is joining us live, but I guess I'm just gonna start, and if anyone's gonna join, then they can watch the replay if then they don't catch the beginning. Okay, guys. So let me just bring up my notes so I don't forget anything. So today, the topic of this workshop is Heal From Within. And if you will have I want to say this in the beginning, if you have any questions, if you will have any questions throughout the workshop, just note them and please keep them until the end. So I will answer everything at the end. If there's any questions, there will be time dedicated to Q&A, so we can do that at the end. And if you're not joining us live, if you're watching the replay, you can also submit the questions in the comments, or that would be probably best to submit them in the comments under this video, and then I can answer them tomorrow, because the second part of the workshop is happening at the same time tomorrow. So it's 6:30 p.m. Central European time. If you somewhere else, then I think it's 12:30 Eastern time. Other times you will have to convert. But yeah, it's at the same time tomorrow, and tomorrow's part of the workshop will be a group healing session guided by me and your inner voice. Today will be a talking part, so I will be taking you through. Let me just go to the next slide. Sorry. So like I said, today is the talking part of the workshop, tomorrow is the healing session. And today's overview. So I'm gonna share with you my healing story, and then we will go into causes of health issues in general and chronic health issues in particular. And then we will get to, for those of you who don't know, what is your inner voice, how you can heal with the help of your inner voice, and what are energetic and emotional blocks and how you can release them with the help of your inner voice. And I will share also some other techniques. And like I said, there will be a Q&A at the end. So about me and my healing story. For me, it's been a long journey. I've always had some health issues ever since I was a baby. I was actually already born with eczema. It's like a lot of babies develop eczema after they are born or a bit later, but I was already born with it. And what I know today is I learned it through my inner voice and through some other healing modalities that the cause of my eczema was actually my mom was really stressed when she was pregnant with me, and I wanted to take a part of the stress, a part of the burden of her. So I took on some of the energy, and yeah, that's how I developed my eczema when I was still in her belly. And my inner voice actually told me a while ago that I chose my mom and my family to heal them, to break the patterns of struggle and the cycle of suffering in my family. I wanted to help break all these patterns because there are some long-standing patterns, and yeah, I chose them on purpose to come here and take them on me and heal them. So that's how I developed my eczema. Of course, I didn't know this for a very long time, and I was struggling with eczema most of my life. And what I didn't know either was, ever since I could remember, my eczema would flare up when I was stressed, when I was emotional, when there were some emotional events or emotionally hard for me, or when there was something unknown, like my family moved to Germany when I was little, and then we moved back again, and that was really stressful for me, changing schools, and my eczema would flare up, and some children would, I wouldn't say bully me, but they would tease me or call me names because of that, because I had eczema on my face, all over my body, and it was quite difficult in my childhood. And yeah, it kept flaring and never really disappeared when I was growing up. I never had a time where it would be really gone. And back then, doctors told my parents, because of course they tried to help me, that I will never be able to heal it. And that's what I heard my whole life. You can't heal eczema. It's hereditary. You got it because my mom had eczema. Both of my grandmothers had eczema. And that's just something you have to deal with your whole life. And all we can do for you is give you steroid creams. So I was using steroid creams ever since I was a baby, pretty much, on my body, even on my face, even though you're not supposed to. And I was just using steroid creams to pretty much cover up the symptoms, because all these creams do is they don't help you with anything. They just cover up symptoms. They push them back into your skin, and they cover them up, so you don't deal with the symptoms. Another thing that doctors told my mom, or some doctor told my mom, is that I shouldn't eat chocolate because it can aggravate the eczema. So I wasn't allowed to eat chocolate my whole childhood, and it was really depressing. And yeah, but like I said, my eczema never really disappeared, and I struggled with it growing up, throughout my childhood, throughout my teenage years, in my 20s, and I really only started dealing with it in my 30s, healing it holistically, but I'm gonna come to that. Yeah. But my body was giving me all these signals, because usually any kind of health issues, and I'm gonna get to that later as well, is a sign, any symptom, physical, mental, emotional, is a signal from your body that you are disconnected from yourself, you are disconnected from your highest self, and it means you are in your mind, you are controlled by your emotions, and it's showing up on your body. It doesn't matter if it's eczema, if it's any other chronic illness. It can also be acute symptoms, like you can get a headache because you stress, or you can develop some other health issues. But there's always underlying causes. People these days, there's a lot of talk that you need to heal your gut, you need to change your diet and all these things, but these are still, you are still only treating the symptoms on the physical level. You're not really going deep, and we need to, in order to heal especially chronic health issues, we need to go deep into your subconscious, into your energetic body, and treat the symptoms there and address the symptoms there and ask about the symptoms, what is causing them, and so on. And yeah, it's been a long journey for me. It took a long time for me to wake up and realize this, and my eczema wasn't certainly enough. There was something I struggled with my whole life, and to be honest, I will talk about it in a little bit, but it never really disappeared. My eczema is clear most of the time, but it now and then, when I'm stressed, when I'm experiencing some emotions, it would now and then it would flare up on my hands. And I asked my inner voice recently, why inner voice? Because I've done already, if you're not familiar with the term inner voice, your inner voice is your intuition, and I will get to that today as well. But I asked my inner voice, what is the reason behind it? Why does it keep flaring up? I've done already so much work on all levels, on my subconscious level, on the soul level. I released, on the energetic level, I released so much. I released the underlying causes, some work. I'm doing so much work. I've been doing so much work for 10 years. And my inner voice told me that it's because I still need it. I still needed to realize when something's happening, because we tend to go unconscious a lot of the time. We are just in the mind. We are day to day, you know what it's like. We are stressed. We are just in the head, doing the things, everyday task, running a business or going to work, taking care of the children, anything you need to do. And you just go unconscious. You just run with it. You're in the head. And yeah, so for me, my eczema, when it flares up, it's a signal from my body, from my inner voice, from my intuition, that I need to realize something. And usually today, it's enough for me to realize what the problem is, where I haven't been, where I'm not in alignment with myself, with my highest self. It's not, for years, it hasn't been like that. I had to do so much work. I had to pretty much change my life, become a different person, or become the person I was supposed to be. And I needed to do so much work through EFT, through tapping, through quantum healing, through releasing emotional blocks or beanbags, and release so many energetic blocks from my body. And that took a lot of work. Today, it's enough for me usually to realize what the problem is, and the eczema goes away again, or whatever comes up. There might be different symptoms. I might get a headache sometimes or something, but usually it's enough to realize what the problem is. But I want to share the journey, how I got here. So I went on a bit of a tangent, but that's okay. So like I said, in my childhood, in my teens, I was just using steroid creams and didn't even think about it. I was struggling with my eczema, but I didn't even think there were other options than the steroid creams, because I never heard about anyone healing eczema long term or dealing with it otherwise. And so the doctors would tell you, sometimes it disappears, but for me, it never did. So anytime I was stressed at school, stressed at home, because I was growing up with an alcoholic father, which that wasn't easy, and there was a lot of stress at home, a lot of emotions, and that was all showing up on my body. So that wasn't easy, and because of that, I also moved back as soon as I could when I was 19, and I got into my first serious relationship. And of course, because we learn the patterns from our parents, what a relationship should look like. So of course I chose someone who was similar to my father, and it took we were together for a few years, but after about a year or two, I don't remember right now, we were together, probably a year, I developed depression, bulimia, and chronic fatigue syndrome, just from how I let him treat me, because I just wasn't loving myself. My father was a very dominant man, and my first love was similar. He was controlling, he was manipulative, he wasn't treating me very nice. And he wanted me to be thin, and I've never been a skinny person, so that's another pattern that comes back to my father, because my father always used to tell me that I had a big butt. And why am I telling you all this, is that we all have these limiting beliefs. We all have patterns in our brains, in our mind, that they usually go back to your childhood. We develop these mind patterns. We develop these beliefs that are, what a belief is pretty much a thought that you think over again and over again and over again, and then you develop a belief. And these beliefs usually come from your childhood, and they usually come from your parents or from your closest people, because you pretty much believe what they tell you when you're little. You believe what they tell each other, how they treat each other, and you copy the relationships that your parents have. You copy their own insecurities, how they treat themselves. And for example, I know today that my father wasn't very confident within, and he was masking it with alcohol, and that's why I was never a confident person. Although he was a very dominant man, it seemed so. Like I was we had a difficult relationship, and he was very strict and controlling, and that's what I looked for in and emotionally unavailable, and that's what I looked for in my relationship as well, unconsciously, of course, because there were times when I hated my father, and then I never wanted I thought I would never be with someone like him. But yeah, because of all these beliefs and mind patterns that I took on from growing up in my family, especially with my father, I had these beliefs about not being good enough, not being thin enough, not I had low self-worth, and so on, so on. So, in my first relationship in my 20s, so I was 19 when we got together. So my late teens, early 20s, because I wanted, the relationship wasn't perfect, and I wanted to love him. I wanted him to love me. I just wanted to be thin for him. I wanted to be loved. So, and because all of the things I experienced in my teens and my childhood, after a while, because I let him treat me the way he treated me, I got depressed. I developed, like I said, bulimia as well, and an eating disorder, and I had chronic fatigue syndrome. At the same time, I went to uni, and I didn't have the confidence to study what I wanted to study. So I majored in Czech and German, and I didn't enjoy it at all. And it was really stressful. There was a lot of pressure. There was like so much to learn, and from all of that, I was so stressed, and my body was just screaming at me. And so I developed all of these additional health issues in addition to my eczema. And I ended up on antidepressants. I had to go to counseling for 3 years. At the same time, looking back at it now, that was quite helpful for me, because I ended up in this group therapy, and that was my first connection to mindfulness techniques, yoga, art therapy, and group therapy, which I think it's really powerful. And yeah, I managed to heal. I managed to heal from depression, from my eating disorder, and went back to school, which wasn't great, but at the time I just didn't know what my purpose was. I wasn't connected to myself. I was still living an unconscious life like most people, and I partied a lot. I drank a lot, and I wasn't emotionally eating as much anymore. But which all these things are you just trying to cover up the real problems. It's with food, alcohol, socializing, partying. It's really, I remember I hated being alone. I was always looking for relationships. I wanted to be with friends all the time. I never wanted to be alone. And when I had some troubles with boys at school or anything, I would drink, I would eat, and I would just try to numb the pain inside. And I think a lot of people do that. Most people live unconscious lives, and they eat, they drink, they take drugs, they shop, whatever they do, whatever to numb the pain. And yeah, that's what I did most of my 20s. And Yeah. Whenever I was stressed, I had some issues, I was drinking too much, of course my eczema would flare up again. And I would just use steroid cream to push it away, not to feel my feelings, not to feel anything. And I would party away my 20s. And yeah, so a few years after that, I developed severe back and neck pain. Another thing I was really stressed at uni. I was doing my masters, even though I hated it. But unconsciously, again, I wasn't feeling good enough. And I guess I wanted to, even though at the time I wouldn't admit it, but I wanted to feel good enough. I was told, you need, here in the Czech Republic, you need a degree. It is probably most of the world anyway. You need a degree, you need to be something, you need to mean something. Otherwise you're not worth anything if you don't have a university degree. So I was trying to prove something. I didn't know what else I would do anyway at the time. So I was stressed, and I was partying away, and I developed these back pains. And what the solution was back then, it took a while because I went to doctors and they didn't help me much. They gave me some exercises and stuff, but it wasn't helping much. But I discovered yoga and fell in love with yoga 20 years ago, and have been almost 20 years. And that was maybe the first or second time coming to myself, because you all probably know yoga is not just about the physical, even though back then it was mostly about getting rid of my back pain and about the physical health. But yoga is pretty much meditation in motion, right? So you would connect to your breath, connect to your body, and that's so beneficial for you. So yeah, I'm trying to weave in like the things that would help, or the little solutions. But yeah, once I finished uni, I like I said, I wasn't sure what my purpose is. And why am I saying this, or why am I telling you this, is because I believe that all of these signals from your body, like I said in the beginning, are telling you that you're not connected with your highest self, you're not connected with your purpose. And your inner voice, your intuition, your highest self, and your body are showing you the way to connect to your highest self, to connect to your purpose, and live the life you chose to live, your soul chose to live. So for a lot of people, including me, this healing journey was a journey to myself, even though it was painful, and I'm still not done. There's still more to this story. And it was painful at times, but usually people need to hit rock bottom before they actually start to change anything, because it's comfortable. If you don't have any problems, it's nice to live your unconscious life. And for a lot of people, that's fine, and they live their whole life like that. But some of us, or our souls, have chosen, or I think most of souls choose to grow in a lifetime. And this was my journey. This was my growth journey. And I actually believe, or I know, that this all brought me where I am now. And so after uni, I didn't want to stay at home in Czech Republic, and because the issues with my father were getting even worse, although I wasn't living at home. I just couldn't imagine finishing uni, and I didn't know what to do. So I chose to move to the other side of the world. And I do believe my inner voice guided me there, because I just knew that I wanted to go, and I knew where exactly I wanted to go, even though I've never been there. And I went there initially for a year and ended up staying for almost a decade. And it was great. But I'm gonna try to cut this short, because I know I've been talking for half an hour about me, and I want to get to the solutions as well. So yeah, I ran away to New Zealand, and for a few years it was great. I felt so free. It was amazing. But I wasn't very fulfilled. I kept partying, I kept having a nice time, but at the same time I wasn't very happy. Deep down, I wasn't really happy. And I worked at restaurants, at cafes, as a waitress first, and then as a manager, but I just wasn't fulfilled, and I wasn't happy. So because of the lack of self-love and low self-esteem, I had an idea that I should get a second master's degree, and if I get a New Zealand degree, I would be more valued, or people would give me a better job, or something like that. So I decided to go to uni and study and work. I was living on the other side of the world, and after I decided to go to uni, I developed more health issues, because from all the unhappiness and stress, I was experiencing some anxiety, because I felt stuck for a while before I decided to go back to uni. And then just before I was to move to Wellington, to the capital of New Zealand, where I decided to study, I developed some hormonal issues, some gynecological issues, and ended up having surgery just after I moved to Wellington, which was really traumatic, because I didn't know anyone there. But it was another push. It was another push in the right direction, because after the surgery, I was lucky enough to meet this very wise doctor who told me I should change my diet. So I, at least for a while, stopped partying. I stopped smoking, I think, at the time, or maybe a little before that. And I started getting into self-development. I discovered Louise Hay back then, which is like the self-love guru. And I was getting better. The health issues went away again for a while. It helped for a while. But because I went to uni, I was working and studying full time. I was again stressing out. I was so stressed, and there was so much pressure. and I got totally burnt out. I developed more health issues. My eczema flared up all over my body again like crazy. But at the time already, because I was getting into self-love and self-development and all these things, and I started reading about holistic health and everything, I would start looking for alternative ways how to heal my eczema. And I tried so many different things, but one thing was that I just didn't want to use the steroid cream anymore, but I still kept using it because there wasn't another solution. It just kept coming back. And if you have eczema or you ever had eczema, you know how awful it is, how it can be itchy, and you just can't do, like, you would kill someone to get rid of it, to get rid of the itchiness, the dry skin, the painful skin. And you could literally, like, you want to get out of the skin because it's just so uncomfortable. And thinking about it now, it's just you can't, you need to give it attention, right? Because it's so uncomfortable, it's so loud that you just have to give it attention. And yeah, but at the time, like I said, I still didn't know about the things that could actually help me. And so I kept working, I kept studying, and I came back after a while to partying again because I was working with a lot of young people and I didn't know anyone, so I went out with them. And not only I was burnt out, but my body literally, or the universe had to actually bang my head so hard. I banged my head at work on a shelf and I suffered a concussion, and I had to stay in bed for 2 months. So the universe literally had to bang me on my head, or hit me on my head, so I would actually slow down and rest. And I had to stay in bed for 2 months. I didn't know many people, so nobody could take care of me. And at the same time, someone told me, a doctor or someone, that I could have died because I didn't know I had a concussion first, because I just hit my head on a shelf. It was pretty hard, but I didn't know. So I just had a headache, and I went home and went to bed. And the next day it got worse, and then I went to the doctors. But the doctor literally yelled at me that I should have come straight away because I could have died if there would be a bleed in my brain, that I would have died. And that was that what he told me, that because like I said, I just lied in bed. And when you with your thoughts alone for 2 months, it's really it was so debilitating. I couldn't walk, I couldn't move, anything I had to do, even like going to the bathroom and making myself food because I have no one to take care of me, that would make me so tired, and my head was spinning. So I developed like really severe anxiety, and I suffered from panic attacks. I would wake up with like if you ever had panic attacks, it's like you think you're gonna die because like your heart is pounding, you can't breathe. And I would wake up in the middle of the night and I couldn't breathe, and I literally thought I was dying. And I kept like watching my body, and I thought I had all these other symptoms, and I developed this like really bad fear of death. And I would wake up every day, and the first thing I thought about was, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. And that was like so bad for 2 months. And at the time, I discovered EFT. If you guys don't know what EFT is, EFT, or emotional freedom technique, or tapping, is an amazing method which I now use with my own clients. It's an amazing method that combines Chinese medicine, like it's based on acupuncture or acupressure, and it combines it with modern psychology. So you pretty much you can ease anxiety or anything really. It's not just about mental health issues, but also it can help you, and it has helped me with my physical health issues so much, and so many other people. But you pretty much connect to your subconscious and to your energetic body, and pull out all memories, all triggers and everything. And then when you talk about it and you tap on meridian points, on acupressure points on your body, which are endings of the meridians, are energy paths in your body and energy channels. And by tapping on them, you're neutralizing the triggers, you're neutralizing the fight or flight response, and the fears and the anxiety and any other negative emotions that are connected to the development of your health issues, mental, physical, and emotional. So at the time, it helped me so much with my anxiety. And I just found some videos on YouTube, and just by following the videos on YouTube, it helped me so much. And back then, I would only use it for the anxiety and some other mental health issues, some other emotional issues and fears. But it helped me so much. And not long after that, I recovered from the concussion, and I was slowly getting better. And then I was finishing up my master's, and I kept working on myself. I kept working on my health and on my self-love. And all of a sudden, I had this. It might be connected to the work I was doing through. If you don't know Louise Hay and her books, I highly recommend You Can Heal Your Life. It was the first book that helped me so much, and she talks a lot about self-love and forgiveness, and doing the exercises she talks about in the book. I all of a sudden had a massive feeling, such a strong feeling, that I need to forgive my father. And I managed to do that all of a sudden. I never was able to do that. And I had so much resentment, so much anger, and even hate at times towards him. And all of a sudden, I was able to forgive him. And that felt so amazing. It could have been all the EFT I was doing, probably part of it, the self-love work and the forgiveness work, and all these other things I started doing, and I managed to forgive him. And 2 weeks after that, I got a call from my grandfather that my father is dying. And I managed to, within a couple of days, I managed to fly back home, say goodbye, and bury my father. And after that, I decided that I no longer wanted to stay in New Zealand, even though for a long time I thought I would stay there for forever. But I couldn't run away anymore. So within a month, I submitted my thesis, picked up my whole life for almost 9 years I was living there. I got rid of most of my stuff. I just kept 2 bags and a couple of boxes and got rid of everything and moved back home. And it wasn't easy to come back after so many years. At first it was nice to be closer to my family, and it actually, my father passing, it wasn't easy, of course, but it brought us closer with my grandparents. We never had a good relationship before, and after my father died, we got so much closer, and I was lucky enough to spend a few years with them before they both passed a year ago and 2 years ago. But I'm running away. That's not what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, but after coming back, of course I had more fears about not being able to find a proper job, but because that's what I couldn't do the whole time I was in New Zealand. Even before my father's passing, I was trying to look for a better job because I kept waitressing, and I couldn't find one. So after coming back home, I was surprised how easy it was for me. I found a job, and then after another year and a half, I found what I thought at the time was my dream job, something that would make my father really proud. At the same time, I thought it would be my dream job, because in New Zealand I studied international relations, and the whole idea why I went to study it was that I wanted to help people. My whole life I wanted to help people, and I thought I would maybe work for some kind of humanitarian aid agency. Like I would throughout, I forgot to say that while I was studying and working, I was also volunteering for UNICEF and for Red Cross, and like doing so many things to feel good about myself and to feel worthy and stuff. And I thought that would be humanitarian aid would be the direction I wanted to go, but that wasn't the case in the end, because I realized while I was studying that it's not as amazing as it sounds. And so after coming back to the Czech Republic, I got a job at an embassy, and I thought it would be amazing. I thought, like, everyone would tell me once I started there, I got the job as head of administration at the embassy. So it was like a really amazing sounding job. And even though it was admin, I was like, oh, I'm finally gonna be, people gonna appreciate me, and I can show them what I can do. And little did I know that the job is gonna make me stressed and unhappy and more sick. But yeah, so I was really happy about it at first, and I started finally dating someone who was, it was my, and still is my first relationship in my life that, that I had a loving relationship, someone that treats me well, and all these things. And so I thought I would be finally happy, but I started, the job was really stressful. It was a lot of pressure, it was a lot of responsibility, and I was alone. There was no one to help me. It used to be a job done by diplomats who had training for years and years, and because of some changes, they decided to hire locally and hired me. And I had training for a few months, but it just wasn't enough. And and there was so much pressure to do everything and prove that I can do it. And I didn't want anyone to know that I can't. So I worked my ass off. And for a while, I thought it's amazing and I felt good. But after a while, I started developing all these other health issues. It started, of course, with my eczema flaring up all over my body. Like, it wasn't so bad since I was a child. It seriously, like, head to toe eczema. And then when I wasn't paying attention to that and I kept working, I was so stressed every day. I was so under so much pressure every day. I would literally act cool at work. Everyone was telling me, oh, you're doing such a good job, you know, and you seem so calm and everything. But I would have a breakdown every night. Every night I came home, I had a breakdown. And then, yeah, when I didn't do anything about that. There was no one to help me, really. I didn't have a deputy, anyone. I just had to take care of everything. And so when I didn't listen to my eczema, I probably knew subconsciously that it's not right and that I'm running myself down, but I guess I needed to go through that and realize everything. But I got even more sick. I started getting all these, sinus infections, and I never stayed at home because there was no one to take care of the job. So I just kept working. Even though I was sick, I had 3 rounds of antibiotics, and then I developed digestive issues. After a while, my thyroid started playing up, and I developed hypothyroidism, and it was just getting worse and worse until I just couldn't do it anymore, and my body completely shut down. I got a stomach infection and a gut infection, and I was in so much pain, and I was so sick that I just couldn't anymore. And at first, of course, I was looking for help from doctors who told me they can't really do anything about it. They gave me some pills which weren't helping very much. They gave me pills for my thyroid, but I didn't want to take those. And they pretty much told me you're going to have to take those until the end of your life, because we just, there's no solution. And that wasn't good for me. And so I started looking for alternative solutions, this time more seriously. Sorry. And I started reading all the books. I got more into holistic health and functional medicine. And what you read when you start researching these things is the need to heal your gut, especially any kind of health issues, but especially if you have digestive issues, of course. So you need to heal your gut, you need to change your diet. And so I started experimenting. I tried so many different diets. I tried Ayurveda, I tried veganism, I tried paleo. I ended up with the autoimmune protocol. And on top of that, I decided to study nutrition and become a health coach on the side of all the work I was doing. And yeah, but my health issues weren't getting better, even though I was changing so much. And I kept doing yoga, I started meditating, and I was doing all these things, and it just wasn't helping. So on top of that, because I was restricting myself so much with all these diets, and especially the autoimmune protocol is so restrictive, and I stayed on it for way longer than I should have, but I just didn't know what else to do because I was so sick. I was reacting to everything. I went to had some tests done, and they came out with, they told me I have 111 angel numbers, food sensitivities, and that I couldn't pretty much eat anything. On top of the autoimmune diet, I couldn't eat almost anything. I was just eating, after being vegan for a year, by the way, I had to go to eating meat 3 times a day, and a few veggies I was tolerating. And it was so painful. I was hungry all the time. I was miserable. And because of all of that, and because of the history, like I shared before, I had an eating disorder in my 20s. I started noticing these old thoughts coming up, around food. And I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I can't do this anymore, because I don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back to my eating disorder days. And so I kept looking for other solutions, and I rediscovered EFT. And this time it was, before then I knew it could help with your mental health issues, but I never tried it for physical health issues. And EFT, I found a therapist, and then I started noticing changes. And my therapist is actually someone who back then who became my teacher, and she studied EFT with actually the founder of EFT. And I decided to study with her, so I became an EFT therapist, and my health issues were improving while I was going in, working on all these, because EFT works, like I said before, on your subconscious level, and you, by tapping on these meridian points, you release all these energetic and emotional blocks. I'm still gonna come to intuition and inner voice, and how you can heal, how that can help you heal. And it's a similar process, releasing blocks with your inner voice, but EFT works more, it works on the energetic level as well, but it works on the subconscious level. And especially if you have a strong mind, and if you have a lot of limiting beliefs and all these thoughts, subconscious beliefs about not being good enough and not being lovable and all these things, that can really help with that. And so I started working through that, and managed to get rid of most of my health issues, including my thyroid is now perfectly healthy. My digestive issue went away. My sensitivities went away. And slowly, that took a while, but I kept working. I kept working at my office job. But I started working with other women on the side. And after I finished the EFT certification, I continued with my teacher to study quantum healing, and became a quantum healing practitioner. And yeah, my health issues kept improving, and then my eczema went away, or almost, but it kept flaring up. It kept flaring up because I was still at the stressful job. And I would notice it would be, for example, better when I went on holiday, and then I would come back and it would flare up the minute I would walk into work, or even before, already when I was thinking about going back to work, it would flare up, especially on my hands. And it took me another 2 years before I managed to leave the job, and started working with clients full time. And this all, what I shared with you, I know it's been long, but what I wanted to show you is how, by telling you this whole my life story and my healing journey is really that step by step, my intuition, my inner voice, the universe my body have been giving me signals every time there was too much stress, and when I wasn't in my alignment, when I wasn't connected to my purpose, to my highest self, that would always show up physically, mentally, emotionally, all these problems. And I think it's like it always that it don't have I don't think it has to be health issues for everyone coming to your purpose and coming to yourself, but there's usually some major events in your life or some major triggers. It can be a loss of someone. It can be a major breakup. It can be you can lose your job. You can and any major events in your life can also be reasons for you to guide you towards your purpose, stepping into your power and coming back to yourself, to your highest self. And yeah, after that I mean, you never stop healing, right? You never stop. It's never like you're done with the work, even though you might heal your health issues. But like I shared in the beginning, my eczema would still flare up today, now and again, when I'm too stressed or when there's some emotional problems or anything, my eczema would flare up. But I kept, because I love learning and I love learning new things, and all of this led me to like I said, a quantum realm. And a couple of years ago I went through a spiritual awakening thanks to that, and a Kundalini awakening. I connected to the Akashic records. I connected to my inner voice. Last year I did a certification. I became an inner voice facilitator with Just Lively, which a lot of you here probably know because you come from the Lively community. And yeah, that was interesting for me. And I'm going to get to inner voice in a second. But I thought that through EFT and quantum healing and all these other modalities, I released already a lot. And I thought, there wouldn't be much more to release. But like when I started working with my inner voice, and while we were doing IVFT, the inner voice facilitated training, and I started working with my inner voice and going deeper, I was so surprised how much more there was to release and heal. And it keeps happening. I keep going deeper, and there's not as much anymore like when I began with my inner voice, but there's deeper things, on the energetic level. And there's a lot of, even I have recently been releasing some ancestral baggage and going deeper and deeper. And that's maybe for another time, all these things. But what I wanted to tell you guys with all of this is, throughout what I learned is, today I'm so grateful for all I went through with my health issues, with everything I had to go through. It wasn't easy, but I would like you to see, because I'm grateful for them and I see them as gifts. They are gifts from your soul, and I would like you to see the same. I know it's not easy when you're suffering, when you're struggling, But if you can change that, and I will, that's something we will focus on tomorrow in the healing session, to change your perception and see your health issues or any symptoms you're experiencing as gifts from your soul. And I know that for me, this whole journey coming back to was to bring me here, to step into my purpose and start helping others. And because I went through so much, I have so much empathy and compassion for others. And I love helping other women to heal and to live a healthy, happy, and purposeful life, a life that is living from your soul and not from your mind. It's not always easy, I'll be honest with you guys, but it's so much more satisfying and so much more full. And yeah, so the message I'm trying to tell you here is to, because we are taught to you're supposed to fight an illness, you're supposed to fight your health issues, whatever you're experiencing. And when you stop fighting and you start listening to the whispers of your soul, of your body. Because if you don't listen, then your body starts screaming. It becomes louder and the symptoms become more severe. And then you can develop more serious problems. But if you start listening and start going within, you can find all the answers within. And I maybe will leave this for tomorrow. But I completely forgot about the presentation, you guys. Let me switch. Okay. Coming back to the causes of the chronic health issues, I already shared a lot of that, but throughout my healing story. But yeah, what I want to tell you, that, and I said it before, but I'm just going to repeat it. There's always, no matter what you're experiencing, if it's acute health issues or chronic health issues, there's never just physical causes. There's always deeper underlying causes on the energetic level, on the subconscious level, on the emotional level. And it's never enough to treat the symptoms. It's never enough to cover up the symptoms, not ever. But it's not enough to change your diet, to heal your gut, because this, anyway, everything's connected, guys. Like, one thing is, you're not just your body. You are an energetic being living in the physical body. So whenever you want to heal something, you need to go deep, you need to go within, and you need to look for answers within and for solutions. And no matter, like today, I had a client today who has eczema, but she also shared with me she suffers from headaches. And we discovered that, because she was like, oh, I sometimes get a headache when I'm stressed or when I'm not sleeping well. But what we actually discovered was that the headache started when her son was small, and she was desperate because he was a difficult baby. He was crying all the time. And one time she was pregnant with her second baby back then, and her husband wasn't helping, and she just lost it, and she smacked him on his bum a little bit, not much, but because it was so traumatic for her, probably even more than for the child, she developed these headaches. And ever since, she was like, yeah, I get them now and then when I'm stressed. But she never knew it's connected to this one situation that got stuck in her subconscious, and that's been causing the headaches. And this, I hear it all the time. I've had clients with different health issues, but there was one client recently with eczema again, who developed the eczema not in her childhood, but it started when she was already an adult. But it flared up after a trip with her family, and we discovered that when she was little, there was an episode with her parents, and the trip triggered the event again in the subconscious, and that caused her eczema to flare up. Or there was another client recently who she had some digestive issues, and she thought it was caused by some food intolerances, that was caused by mold in her house, and all these things we hear. And it might be connected, but it's never the reason, guys. It's never the food, it's never the mold, it's never anything physical. It's always connected to something in your subconscious and on the energetic level. It can be deeper, and it can go into what I'm only discovering now. It can go into your past lives, into your ancestral lines, and all these other things. But a lot of the time it's connected to your childhood. This woman with the digestive issues, it was connected to some trauma from her childhood when her parents were fighting and she was eating pizza. And because after that incident, she got intolerant to gluten and dairy, because she was eating pizza, which contains flour and cheese, right? And ever since, she had these digestive issues. So it's never, guys, I can't stress it enough. It's never the food. It's never anything physical. It's always deeper. And so no matter what health issues you're experiencing, even if doesn't matter if it's physical or if it's mental health issues or anything else, you always need to look for underlying causes on the energetic level, on the subconscious level, and you can ask your inner voice. You can find someone like me who does EFT, who's a certified EFT therapist. There's like other modalities as well, but yeah, you have all the answers within you. And just looking at my notes, and I keep just talking without looking at my notes very much, so I said a lot of these things already, you guys. But yeah, even no matter what the symptoms are, it's never enough to treat the symptoms, and the symptoms is usually just your body, your inner voice giving you a signal that you disconnected from your true self, that you disconnected from your purpose. And by asking your inner voice questions, by going into your subconscious, you can find all these answers and unblock them. So yeah, what to focus on when healing? It's looking for these stresses, for traumas, for emotional triggers, all these things. Of course, when you're not looking after your body, when you're drinking, eating crap, when you when you're doing things that are not good for you, it's not going to be great for your body either. But that's, again, not living in alignment with your true self. So, and not loving your body. So all these things always come down to what's underneath, always. Always need to go within. So yeah, the first thing you can do is start asking questions. I'm going to show you, I was going to do that today, but we're not going to have time to do that. But you can start asking questions and listen for answers. If you don't have a connection with your inner voice yet, I'm going to show you tomorrow how to connect. But you can, the easiest way, and we can try that tomorrow after the healing session, is to write to your inner voice. And you can ask anything. You can ask about inner voice, intuition, whatever you call it. Body, you can ask your body, what does this mean? What does this symptom mean? Why am I having these problems? What's behind it? What can I do about it? What do I need to change? And so on, so on. I'm not going to get into that right now because we don't have as much time anymore. But yeah, we're going to come back to the questions tomorrow. And let me see what else. Okay, what is your inner voice? I'm just going to switch the slide. What is your inner voice and how can it help you heal? I was going to talk more about it. Maybe I'm going to say again more tomorrow, but your inner voice, pretty much for those of you who don't know, who don't know, just Lively, my teacher who I studied with to become an inner voice facilitator. Your inner voice is your intuition. It's the soul wisdom, it's your knowing, it can be the gut feeling. You guys all know what it means when you have a gut feeling or when you have a knowing about something. And your inner voice, it's pretty much an extension of your soul. It's connected to your highest self, it's connected to the whole universe, and it has all the answers, you guys. And you don't need anyone to tell you what to do, because you have all the answers within you. Your inner voice has all the answers to everything. It might not always tell you everything you want to hear or you want to know, because it's not for your highest good at the moment, at a particular moment, but it has all the answers. And what's beautiful about it, everyone has an inner voice, and some people might not be ready to connect to their inner voices, but I guess if you are here, you either already connected to your inner voice or you're ready to. So, like I said, we're gonna do the healing session where you will connect to your inner voice tomorrow in the second part of the workshop. But yeah, your inner voice is the wise and loving part of you, is the, like compared to the mind, because you have a mind in your head and then you have an inner voice. It's usually in your heart area, in your heart space, or in your gut, your belly. It can be anywhere else, but that's usually the most common places. And what was I gonna say? Yeah, your inner voice, just, you can access it at any time. You can ask it any questions, and your inner voice can also help you to release energetic and emotional blocks. I mentioned before that, like, one other method I use is EFT, that can help you with that as well, especially if you have a very strong mind. I like to combine both methods, by the way, but if you have a very strong mind, or if there's a lot of trauma, if there's a lot of subconscious beliefs that can be connected to your health issues, I use EFT. But like I said, I thought after all the years of working on myself and healing with my inner voice, I still had so much to, healing with EFT and through quantum healing. After that, I thought I wouldn't have too much, but once I started working with my inner voice, there was still so much more to release. So that's why I like to combine both of them. And yeah, there can be deeper blocks on the energetic level, on the soul level, and they might not be just blocks from your current life. It can be blocks from past lives, like I said, from your ancestors, from your parents, and so on, so on. And with inner voice, compared to EFT, you don't always have to know exactly what the problem is to release it. I always ask anyway, because I think it's good for you to be conscious of what the problem is. And like I shared before, like for me at the moment, if my eczema flares up, it's usually enough for me to realize what the problem is, what the issue is, have the consciousness, be conscious about the issue, and then I can either tap on it through EFT, I can release the block or the beanbag with the help of my inner voice, but often it's enough to just realize what the problem is and it will go away. The eczema will go away. So I think the knowing and the answers, it's always great to ask questions and get answers, what's behind it, but you don't always have to know. Okay, how can your inner voice help you heal? So how I work with my clients and what I love when working with your inner voice and with other modalities I use is that I'm not the healer. I don't want people to see me as a healer in particular. I think that everyone is their own healer. You are, because you are a sovereign being. You are a sovereign being and you can truly heal yourself. It's not just a phrase, it's true that you can be your own healer. You are pretty much, I believe that you are the only person who can heal yourself. And I can be your guide. I can help you realize a lot of things. I can guide you. I can hold space for you or anyone else who works with as an inner voice facilitator or something like that. But I prefer for you to be your own healer. And of course, it's nice and it's easier when somebody else like me, or like I said, any other inner voice facilitator, when they hold space for you. When they hold space for you and you feel safe and you feel guided and protected. Of course, you have your inner voice to guide you and then me to guide you, and you can pretty much just being guided, but you have to do the work with, like when we release something with your inner voice, when we heal something with your inner voice, we use intention and breath, and we connect to the body, and we look for any areas of tightness, of heaviness, of pain in the body, which signals an energetic or emotional block. And then we just breathe through it. You can have a lot of physical sensations, you can feel a lot of emotions, but that's the thing. We tend to, that's how these a lot of health issues and other problems, how you develop them is that you push down your emotions, or it can, like I said before, it can be from your childhood, it can be from different traumatic events, it can be from your limiting beliefs, but it's always connected, or most of the time, to your emotions, because we don't like to feel uncomfortable negative emotions, and we tend to run away from them. We tend to push them down. We don't like to feel negative emotions. So when you're releasing an energetic emotional block with your inner voice, you really need to feel the emotions that are stuck there. It can be uncomfortable at times, but once you release it, you feel so much lighter, and it can really, really help you with a lot of problems. Not just physical, but it can help with, like I said, limiting beliefs. It can help with a lot of different things, but ultimately, all of this healing, releasing, we're not fixing you. You don't need to fix anything. You're not broken. You ultimately releasing everything that's not in that's not in alignment with your highest self. That's pretty much anything that's not the real you. All these layers of limiting beliefs, and all these layers of emotional blocks, and all these things we pick up in this lifetime, or we might have picked up in past lifetimes, or from our parents, or whatever. They like layers, you can feel them like blocks, or like just Lively calls them beanbags. But I see them a lot. They like layers and layers, and you have to peel these layers like an onion, and you're pretty much coming back to yourself and all these layers, and you're releasing all these blocks, you're releasing the issues, and underneath is pretty much just pure love and joy, and that's your inner voice. And you will, if you never felt it before, it's amazing, and you might be able to feel it tomorrow during the second part of the workshop. I was going to share some of the questions, but we're not going to get into that today. Yeah, I've been talking about releasing blocks already, but yeah, I think we're coming. Yeah, I'm pretty much on time anyway. I think I pretty much said all I wanted to say today. So tomorrow, guys, we will do the group healing session. I will guide you together with your inner voice. I will guide you to connect to your inner voice, and we will release some emotional or energetic blocks. I was thinking to focus on releasing resistance to healing. If there's anything, I would love you guys to leave comments. If you guys have specific things you want to heal, let me know in the comments under this video, and we can focus on that tomorrow. The more specific you are, the more specific I can be with you guys tomorrow. And yeah, just let me know. You can either write it down now, or I might even put up a post for tomorrow if you guys have any questions. If you have any questions now, let me know. I can still answer them quickly, or we can just come back to them tomorrow at the end. It might be easier because we will have more time tomorrow. I didn't think I would be talking for that long today. So if you have any questions, if you have anything you want to focus on during the healing session tomorrow, let me know in the comment section. And yeah, so tomorrow is the healing session. What I would like you to do tomorrow is to bring headphones. You can bring a blanket to keep warm if it's cold where you are. You can light a candle to make it nice. And bring a pen and paper because we'll be asking some questions at the end. And yeah, I think, yeah, I call these group healing session energetic cleanses, or my inner voice does anyway. So I will see you tomorrow at the same time. And so thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope it was beneficial for you, whoever stayed the whole time, or if you're watching this from, if you're watching the recording, you can also submit your questions or submit the issues you're struggling with. I would love to read let me know about your takeaways. I would love to hear everything. So that's me for today. One last thing I wanted to say, that tomorrow I will also share at the end how you can continue healing going forward with me. I will have a special offer for you guys just for the participants of this workshop. So stay tuned at the end. And so that's all from me today. Sending you guys all so much love, and I will see you tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Central European Time, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. I don't know all the other times where you guys from. So, but I will see you then. Sending you so much love. Thank you. Thanks, Erin. Thanks, everyone else. And have a great rest of the day. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.